Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a great and wonderful day. And I'm hoping that you guys get to see here on the actual downfall of Starbucks and how much they are actually in trouble here. I'll be probably sending this email to some people, depending on, obviously that don't know about this. But this is my whole point of, racism in every single way possible is happening towards white people, and it's happening to a great extent. A good reason was for the affirmative action stuff that, was only mostly allowing black people and I think Indians mostly in play, but when it came down to Asians or white people, they were heavily discriminated against it due to affirmative action. So, there was a lot of racism there, and that was, yes, sorry people, but that was racism against white people. Kind of get used to it. What we have here is that Starbucks sued for discrimination after implementing racial equity policies recommended by Obama's former AG Eric Holder. The policies Starbucks implemented on the recommendation of former Obama administration Attorney General Eric Holder may have been what led the company to be sued for racial discrimination. In 2018, before the uptick in diversity programs launched after the death of George Floyd, an employee at Starbucks had mistakenly called the police on two black men. In response to the incident, the CEO of the company made an apology that stated, "We will learn from this and be better." A multi-phase effort was then launched in response for the purpose of anti-bias training efforts. A portion of the anti-bias training was done by Covington and Burling, a law firm in Washington, D.C. According to the report of the training, Eric Holder, who has gotten paid up to $2,000 and $290 an hour for similar services, issued the report from Covington and Burling to Starbucks. Holder reportedly never addressed the potential legal issues that could stem from the recommendations in the report. 1 year later, a civil rights lawsuit from a conservative nonprofit, the National Center for Public Policy Research, challenged the practices that were implemented by Starbucks with advice given to the company by Holder and the law firm. Starbucks has set goals for the number of diverse and meaning not white employees it hires, and those goals are tied to executive compensation. That is outright racial discrimination, Scott Shepard, the director of PPR Art, said the press release for the lawsuit. Officers and directors who act on such discriminatory policies are violating their fiduciary duties to their shareholders and should be held accountable for those actions. Covington and Burling gave further racial equity audits to the other clients. These included BlackRock, Citigroup, and Verizon. Similar recommendations were provided. Noah Peters, a former solicitor of the Federal Labor Relations Authority, told the Washington Free-Beacon that the programs have been implemented like the ones at Starbucks are lawsuits awaiting to happen. So yeah, it seems that Starbucks is being discriminated for discrimination and racial equity. And it's not for, the typical black people that are apparently harmed, but, it's the white people because they're being irreparably damaged by this. We have this here, that Starbucks hired Eric Holder to conduct a civil rights audit. The policies he blessed got the coffee maker sued. We have here, it was 2018, 2 years before the tidal wave of diversity initiatives unleashed by George Floyd's death, and Starbucks needed a public relations win. The coffee giant was under fire after an employee at one of its stores mistakenly called the police on two black men, etc., etc., etc. That is, all that great stuff. But we have here that, 1 year later, Starbucks was fending off a civil rights lawsuit over precisely the programs Holder has blessed. The lawsuit, which still is ongoing and was filed last August by the National Center for Public Policy Research, a conservative nonprofit, it's gone on to argue that the programs violate non-discrimination laws as well as the company's fiduciary duties, and etc., etc. When a law firm's civil rights advice gets its clients sued for race discrimination, one might expect the firm to dispense less of that advice, or at least to warn other clients about the risk of taking it. But Covington, which represents some of the largest companies in the world, did neither. Though its racial equity audit practice, the firm continued rubber stamping race-based initiatives for its clients, including BlackRock and Citigroup, and among many others. Wilmer Hale, Skaden Arps, and Paul Weiss are just some of the legal heavyweights that are now civil rights audits, part of their growing portfolio of environmental, social, and governance ESG services, which they claim will keep clients out of trouble. It won't, because obviously that's against one of the, maybe the 14th Amendment, and and you can get sued for racial discrimination. You know, being racist towards white people is racist, right? Like, we have to understand this. Our audits can address potential issues of bias and discrimination before legal risks emerge, Skadden-Arp's audit practice states. But critics say the assessments have exposed clients to the very risks they're meant to alleviate. Covington's audits alone endorse a plethora of programs many lawyers, including current and former government officials, say are illegal. From minorities-only scholarship at BlackRock to a bonus scheme linking executive pay to diversity targets at Verizon. Those programs or lawsuits are waiting to happen, said Noah Peters, the former solicitor of the Federal Labor Relations Authority, who has represented numerous government employees in discrimination lawsuits. Some conservative groups are working to ensure the wait won't be long. In April, the law firm America First Legal filed a complaint against BlackRock with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, an agency that enforces workplace discrimination laws, alleging that its race-based scholarship violated the Civil Rights Act. At least one of the agency's 5 commissioners seems to agree. Andrea Lucas, who was appointed in 2020 by former President Donald Trump, said that while she could only speak hypothetically, the kinds of programs Covington bless are on legal ice. Are on thin legal ice. My apologies. Race-restricted internships, fellowships, and mentorship programs are generally unlawful, she said, including programs where participants receive offers for a company's general internship program open to all applicants, but also receive a unique benefit like an expedited interview process or additional compensation beyond what other interns receive. Those criteria describe almost verbatim the BlackRock Founder Scholarship established before Covington's audit and praised therein, which offers diverse internship applicants an accelerated interview process and an award of $20,000. As for programs tying executive pay to racial targets, the more a company seeks to ensure diversity goals are achieved through significant financial pressure, the higher the risk that a court might find that such goals actually are unlawful quotas, Lucas said. Such policies were being challenged even before the Supreme Court struck down race-based college admissions. Now, as companies brace for an onslaught of litigation in the wake of that ruling, they may find that their most legally vulnerable programs trace back not just to diversity officers, but to some of the most prominent lawyers in the country, retaining for the express purpose of reducing liability. It's been surreal to see law firms encouraging clients to pursue these policies, often in what seems like an open defiance of the Civil Rights Act, said Jonathan Berry, the managing partner at Boyd & Gray Associates. For Adam Otero, who represented the plaintiffs in the case that outlawed affirmative action in college admissions, the race-based bonus schemes were especially shocking. I'm stunned that a law firm would have counseled any company to do this. He told the Washington Free Beacon what could possibly be the justification. Covington and Burling did not respond to the request for comment, etc., etc. So what we have here is that a lot of these companies are being sued, and thanks to the actual, affirmative action laws and stuff that was going through, it seems to me that a lot of these companies, Starbucks included, are going to be facing a very harsh reality, because they're not going to be walking away with this unscathed. Even Starbucks is being hit really hard, and they lost $25 million. Ex-Starbucks manager wins $25 million lawsuit that claims she was fired for being white. We have this, a former regional manager for Starbucks won $25.6 million after a jury agreed that she was fired for being white. A jury in New Jersey awarded Shannon Phillips $600,000 in compensatory damages and $25 million in punitive damages on Monday after she argued that she and other employees who are also white faced unjust discipline from Starbucks amid the backlash after 2 black men were arrested in a Starbucks in Philadelphia. Phillips oversaw around 100 Starbucks locations and was fired following a viral 2018 incident in a Philadelphia Starbucks that she was not present for. 2 black men were arrested after they were denied access to the Starbucks restroom without buying anything and then refused to leave the store, leading to a national backlash against the coffee chain. Phillips claimed she was ordered to suspend a fellow white manager over unfounded complaints, and when she refused to do so, she was fired. Phillips' lawsuit claimed that Starbucks was working to punish white employees in an effort to convince the community that it had properly responded to the incident. Starbucks argued it wanted a new manager who had more skills at dealing with the crisis. The jury siding with Phillips could cost Starbucks even more, as the judge may award back pay and future pay, as well as fees for her legal team. So, yes, this is devastating to Starbucks because, as I said before, these lawsuits are kind of ongoing, and they have to pay for future payments. This could be the absolute downfall of Starbucks, mostly just due to the fact that they are racist. And let's make this perfectly clear: Starbucks bent the knee to these social activists, and then now, since these social activists are racist towards white people, our Starbucks in response is now also being racist towards white people to cater to the mob. So now you're seeing this racial stuff happening constantly, and it's not towards black people but towards white people. And we're gonna see a lot of crazy stuff happening throughout I'm gonna say the few years because of all this. Starbucks pride flag strike drives coffee into cultural war. So yes, again, these pride people are ruining these companies. Let's be perfectly honest here. They're ruining these companies, and there's just no way to get through it, right? They're ruining these companies, and their racism and their bigotry and all that stuff is coming to true light. And I think that it's only a matter of time until these companies face actual serious issues against white people. And of course, the far leftists are going to say, like, well, white people this or white people that, what about blacks, etc., etc. And it's like, no, you can't be racist towards white people, and you can't be racist towards anyone. That's just what it is. And these people and these companies are coming for a rude awakening, and I can't wait to see it. Alright, guys, that's this video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care.